Hello everyone. Today I'm representing Team 5 on the project that we did on the case study about eBay. This project is going to be presented by George, me, Gabriele, Warner, and Alina, which they will all speak after me. So, of course, all of you guys have used eBay in the past, and I'm going to go a little bit and review the history of eBay. So everything started in 1995 when there was our Auction Web was created in San Jose, California, and in September 1995 by a French-Iranian programmer called Pierre Omidyar. In 1996, eBay hired their first employee, and they basically what they did. They started auctioning clothes and different products on their website for the first time. In 1997, eBay hosted 2 million auctions, and compared to 250,000 from the year before. They changed the name from Auction Web to eBay in the same year. And in 1997, they received an investment from a venture capital firm called Benchmark Capital. So as you know, this year was extremely important because it was actually the first time that they were called eBay. So in 1998, the company improved and they started having more employees, and they started being at 30 employees. The revenues were 4.7 million in the United States of dollars. And they actually entered the market, the stock exchange, in the same year. And before they entered it, the share price was $18. But once they entered it in 1998, it went up to $53.50, which is an amazing increase in price. So in 2008, the company had expanded worldwide. And at this point, there are millions and millions of users that use the website regularly to sell and purchase products. eBay has 15,000 employees, and the revenues reach $7.7 billion. And in the same year, in 2009, which is a year after, eBay sold Skype for $2.7 billion, and they received a 30% stake in Skype. And in 2018, eBay decided to diversify what they do, and they started educating people and empowering the local entrepreneurs. And by doing this, they kind of helped out the community. Next slide. So we went over the financials of eBay to kind of get an understanding of their performance over the years, and especially over the past 3 to 4 years. So as we can see, we can review that there is a gross profit increase from $6.8 million to $8.3 million throughout the years. And we see that the operating income also increased slightly over the past 4 years until reaching $2.3 million. And the biggest concern and improvement that we saw, it was when in 2016 there was a $7.2 million net income from the operations. And in 2017, the net income from the operation went to be negative. But then they kind of improved over time, and in 1 year it went back to be positive with $2.5 million in net income from operations. Now I'm going to pass my word to George, who's going to continue with the stakeholders presentation. Thank you.
So next, we studied the stakeholders of eBay, but before we get into that, I would like to jump into the actual definition of stakeholders. So stakeholders are individuals, groups, and organizations that have a stake in the success of the organization. That basically means that that includes owners, employees, customers, suppliers, and the community at large, but sometimes depending on the industry, that could include the government. So more specifically now, to talk about eBay stakeholders, eBay stakeholders are basically divided into 2 categories, internal and external. The internal stakeholders are the employees. eBay has approximately 14,000 employees worldwide. And moving on to the external stakeholders, we have the customers. We, as of 2018, we had 170 million active users on our platform, buyers and sellers. Next, we have the competitors, which most of them are the main important ones are Amazon, Alibaba, and Overstock. And then finally, we have the shareholders and the investors of the company, which includes funding members, investors, and the board of directors. Next, we're going to talk about the strategic issues eBay is facing. So the two main strategic issues we discovered for eBay were the security breach and the post-threat of established competitors. The first issue, as we said, is a security breach. That basically means that eBay had a significant issue with hackers coming in the platform, stealing valuable information of our customers, including personal information, demographics, and all of this stuff, and basically stole identities and created a huge problem in the company because people started not trusting eBay because of this security issue. Next, I'm going to pass it to Alina, who's going to basically break down the options we have in order to overcome our first issue, which is security breach.
So for the first option we have is to update the coding. So that removes harmful codes and listings, and then having their personal JavaScript editor, which basically means that they're more controlled on what is managed versus having some outsider. Also to update their encryption code that removes the vulnerability, and it also has no effect on any of the users or the employees. Also to have better trained writers, so that means that they have the qualifications of having the ISC, CISSP, and CSSLP. Also having a VPN update, that means that it can block out malicious content, it can actually be traced, so it means if there's any hacking going on, we can find out where it's coming from and put a stop to it. And the information is constantly changed every second, so it's always updated, it makes it a little bit harder. Second option is doing a password restriction, so the option is to implement a two-way factor identification, similar to how Google and Apple all identify when you purchase new products from them. So for buyers, it's after they purchase an item, they'll receive a verification code that they set up when they actually made their account. And once they make their purchase, they'll receive a code. That code will be confirming that this is them who made the purchase, and that will continue processing the purchase. If obviously it's not them, it will decline the purchase and stop it right there. For employees, after they log in, they'll receive a verification code from the phone number that they set up when they were registered into the company, and that will receive a verification code. Once they log in, they enter that. And for sellers, for sellers selling over a certain amount, they'll receive a verification code. The password resets every 90 days, and that goes to all employees, sellers, and buyers, and the passwords cannot be something similar or equivalent to what they've used in this past 6 passwords. The third option is updating their security. So that means update their firewall or add in a firewall if they don't already have it, which reinforces and makes it harder for hackers to hack. Add in antivirus programs and add in additional employees so that they can monitor irregularities in the codes, and have maintenance twice a month. By doing this, a maintenance twice a month, that does mean the service does have to go down in order to prevent any the company losing business. They should have a backup disaster recovery server, so that once one server is done, while they're cleaning out all viruses and anything that involves hackers, they still have the company up and running. So the best solution for security breach would be updating their security. The reason for this is we gotta stop it before it actually happens. So by keeping the maintenance monthly, it's cleaning up the program, the viruses, which will affect a domino effect. So once the security is updated, that means no hackers are coming in. They can work on all the other problems and the other solutions that we offered. And updating the security actually provides a sense of security to stakeholders, which means that they want to continue to invest in a company, knowing that their information is safe, and also brings in more buyers and sellers, knowing that they can trust the company to make sure everything stays intact. All right, now I'm going to pass it on to Warner, who's going to talk about issue number 2.
Hey guys, so our second issue is the posed threat from established competitors. So there's a lot of companies such as Walmart, Amazon, and Home Depot that are posing a major threat to eBay's market share and thus their long-term profitability. So currently eBay owns about 6.6% of the world e-commerce market share, while Amazon owns about 50%. Now, those are just some stats about like Apple, Walmart, and like their market share for each of those companies. Those are some other companies that are rising, and there's many, many more. The problem with this is that the barriers to entries are low, thus making competition more fierce and making it easy for more people to become competitors. So this is how eBay is currently tackling their competition. One, they tried matching Amazon with the 2-day guaranteed delivery. So right now they have about 20 million items that fall under this category. If an item fails to be delivered within 2 days, then they'll give a full refund and store credit for the shipping to the customer. Another thing that they're doing is that they're identifying synergies to within existing business lines. For example, they acquired StubHub in 2017, and this allows additional modifications to purchases if consumers used Visa checkout to buy tickets on StubHub. Online auctions that provide strategic advantages to consumers, no more time constraints, no geographic constraints, and a positive effect in network economies. So eBay is also focusing on 3 strategies to take the majority of the market share. They're focusing on product differentiation. So they're focusing on private label products and making it different than their competitors. They're focusing on the sense of community and ability to build long-term trusting relationships and aggressive expansion. So the ability to enter into other markets and acquire other companies. So we came up with 3 alternatives for eBay to supersede its competitors. The first option is acquiring more companies and partnerships to expand its global presence, along with focusing more on their niche, which is the online auction market. So more acquisitions will lead to a higher market share and more streams of income. The online auction market is what makes eBay stand out, and it would enable eBay to attract and retain more buyers and sellers who prefer this approach of buying and selling goods as to just buying a product and not being able to put a bid on it. The second option might not be too popular, but it's an option, and it's for eBay to offer itself as the highest bidder. Now, at this point, if we're being realistic, Amazon owns about 50% of the market share, and eBay only owns about 6.6%. So it might not be realistic for eBay to ever honestly supersede Amazon's position at this point. So this is a second option. And the third option is for eBay to invest into more collaborative works with new generation influencers, meaning that they'd be able to invest into online influencers to advertise their services. So this would increase website traffic by attracting younger crowds and already existing customers to revisit eBay and continue to use eBay services, thus more sales. This will impact external units by causing a surplus in sales, which will increase revenue and the stock price, therefore also increasing sales, which would increase the stocks, and stakeholders would benefit from this. And we would implement this alternative by reaching out to influencers to sponsor them in exchange for advertising our services. So the best solution for us, for eBay to supersede its competition, is by collaborating with online influencers. We believe that this would allow eBay to reach a larger audience. It would allow eBay to stay more relevant in the marketplace, and it would also allow eBay to become consumers' first choice when shopping online rather than second to Amazon, because we now have influencers advocating our services. And that's our presentation. Thanks for listening.